Thank you. Thank you. I love the Liberian National Anthem. Well, good afternoon and welcome to a very special edition of the Liberian Diaspora Forum weekly talk show. It's obviously Friday today, April 10, 2015, and the time right now is 3:03, 3 after 3 p.m. Central Minnesota time, which means it's 3 after 4 p.m. East Coast time, and of course it's 3 after 8 p.m. in Liberia, from where our guest is calling. My name is Kafumba Kromah, your humble moderator. Upon sending communication out that we were having Honorable Speaker of the House today, few people called and said that we were having a big guest today, and I disagree. I said no, we're having the biggest guest today. So not just the big guest, but the biggest one so far in recent time, perhaps after Dr. Sawyer, yeah, I think this year we're having the biggest guest on this show. We are very excited about that. Our guest tonight is no other but the Honorable Speaker of the House, Honorable Alex Tyler. And interestingly, when I spoke with him a few minutes ago before coming on the show, I had asked him to specify a topic, but no, he understands that he's a people's leader. He's a true public servant. And so, therefore, he's not going to put much frustration as to what you can or cannot ask. What we do ask, however, both me and Honorable Tyler, is that you be safer at all times. If you've been on this show, you know there's been time when I've cut people off, and I will certainly do that, no disrespect, but we can't get these shows going if we can't get the right people to talk to you. And certainly we cannot get the right people to come if they come or if when they come, and if he disrespected us, clearly that's not going to go well for the show, not well for our community. Not to mention that we're all out to respect our leaders, just as we do over here in the diaspora. So with that said, I do not want to waste your time. I know that the man who's come to speak to us, you know him better than you know me. So why would I waste your time with introduction? Honorable Tyler, it's my esteemed pleasure to have you on the Liberian Diaspora Forum weekly talk show for the first time. Welcome to the show.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Well, Honorable Tyler, usually when folks come on the show, I used to ask them about their opening remarks, but for many of your status, I think I will skip that. I'm just going to go ahead and ask you about some of the burning issues we have in here. Maybe that can lead you into what might look like an introductory remark. And making reference to the just ended Constitutional Review Conference in Gbarnga, Bong County. Ever since that conference ended, I know in Liberia and away from Liberia, that has ignited a serious debate. And what's even more interesting about it is that it seems to me as though a little segment, a segment of whatever was discussed in Gbarnga has come to overshadow many other things that were talked about. I will argue that there were a lot of discussions, a lot of things talked about in Gbarnga. Certainly it wasn't limited to the idea of dual citizenship not being placed on the ballot, and by no means it was limited to the suggestion, about some people that Liberia should be turned into a Christian nation. There were a lot more stuff discussed than that, I would argue. Don't you agree?
Well, let me thank you very much for the opportunity and the platform that you have provided for us to be able to interact with our brothers and sisters in the diaspora. Like you said earlier, I hope the discussion will be fruitful, and so that at the end of the day, we'll all understand some of the issues that are unfolding in our country. Back to the question you asked concerning the just ended Constitutional Review Committee Conference, Constitutional Conference, that was held in Gbarnga. I quite agree with you that since then, the issues coming out of the conference have generated a lot of debates around the country, and so it's important to look at the issues by issues depending on where you sit and to see how we move forward. But again, that's the purpose of the conference. That's the purpose of raising those issues so that they come up for debate, so that we debate on issues and see how we can pass them to referendum. We can understand them before passing on them.
Okay. Thank you. Go ahead. Are you still on the floor?
And so, like I was saying, that's the purpose of the democracy we've been yearning for, where people will go and express their views. Of course, let me just be quick to remind all of us that the process in Gbarnga is not an end in itself. That's the beginning of the process to constitutional amendments, as you may, and by many provisions of the Constitution, of the current Constitution. And so people are getting jittery already by the way things are going. I just want to say there are two ways through which we can amend the Constitution, not the United States Constitution. One way is by citizens coming together and coming up with proposition not less than 10,000 citizens, or the legislature coming up with issues for amendment. Whatever case it is, they have to go through the legislature to tell both houses. We have to pass on the propositions, and then when they pass on, lay for a year before the people rectify or before the people vote on it. And so that's just the beginning of a long debate, and the beginning of a process that will definitely have to pass through the legislature. So that nobody gets it. Let's see how we're down voting to the issues.
Okay. And if I'm hearing you right, whatever was discussed in Gbarnga, as far as your office is concerned, you haven't received anything on your decks here as to what issues to vote on. Is that correct?
No, nothing has been received yet. The Constitutional Review Committee will have now to conclude their work. The process is that those propositions for amendments will have to be submitted to the legislature. Mind you, we have our own debate to conduct in the legislature in both chambers. And that's a whole back and forward process because there are issues that members of the House, for instance, will want to see remain upon the propositions. And maybe the Senate might have a different view or vice versa. And so that's a long, hauling and pulling before the legislature will have to pass on the proposition before it can be laid down a year in keeping with the Constitution.
Okay. Well, now before I start taking calls here, and I need to start that quickly here because questions are piling up on my screen here already. Before I do that, though, I know, hypothetically speaking, the issues that are on their way to your office, to your house, some of them are clear-cut issue. By clear-cut, I mean you can either be for or against. Last week, Saturday, we had the privilege of hosting Senator Komini B. Wuse on this program. He was very clear about his position with proposition number 24, whether or not to turn Liberia into a Christian nation. He said he's opposed to it. He would not support it. When it comes, he's going to vote against it. He was very clear about that. Never mind the fact that some of the callers expressed disappointments in him. Now, after you today, tomorrow, I have Representative Yelu from Bong County District number 4, who is going to be on this program tomorrow for the sole purpose of supporting proposition number 24. He says he's absolutely for it and it should happen, so he will be on the program tomorrow. So right there, community will say against it, Representative Yelu supports it. So you as a speaker, where do you stand on the issue of turning Liberia into a Christian nation, proposition number 24 from the just ended conference, sir?
Let me tell you as leader that I would not say yes or a no without giving you some clues here and there. I think as leader we ought to think things through, especially when we are confronted with the kind of situation that will be coming to us. What will this particular proposition do for our country is what we should look at. And for all of the propositions that will be presented to us as a legislature, how are those propositions going to empower the people? How are they going to benefit us as Liberia? How are they going to improve the living standard of the people, their economic condition? How is it going to, get us to where we're supposed to be as a nation? Those are things that we need to look at. It's not just looking at a particular proposition. And so, generally speaking, we want to look at the proposition one at a time. And maybe it might interest you to know that I spoke in Gbarnga. I was given the opportunity to speak briefly in Gbarnga. And I said something that maybe sparked a little bit of debate. When I read the 1847 Constitution and reading the preamble, what I read in there tells me that the founders, those who formed Liberia, had a Christian background. I read all through the Constitution, the 1847 Constitution, nowhere indicated to me, in my later understanding, that Liberia is a Christian state. I did not see that in the 1847 Constitution, and I read the 1986 Constitution. I haven't seen that. So when people say return Liberia to a Christian state, my thinking is, or my argument, my counter argument to that is, was Liberia ever a Christian state? Liberia may have been founded on Christian principle, but if you say return it to, that may was what it once was. And I haven't seen it. So my debate, my position on the issue will be informed by maybe people articulating better what is meant by returning Liberia to a Christian state. Because all I've read, all the literature I've read, all the provisions I've read in both constitutions, 1847 and 1986, I haven't seen that. That's point number one. Number two, I don't see how Liberia being a Christian state improve the living standard of the people. I think what we ought to do is to tackle those issues that will help us as a nation, that will bring about forward movement. And I think those issues are issues we should look at. Because as leaders, we are duty-bound to try to do those things that are right. We have to think for the rest of the people. That's why it is representative democracy. And so for those of us, the few of us that are sitting at the Capitol building, we have to think things through when they come before us, void of emotion.
Okay. All right.
Are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm listening to you. Thank you.
And so, thank you.
Were you done? Were you done? I don't want to interrupt you.
Yes, to conclude on that point, let me say that all of the propositions that will be presented will have to be laid down before us, and we look at them proposition by proposition. Okay. And I don't know whether 24 or why I'm hearing 25 propositions. That I understand. I don't know how true that is, because now on my deck here and heard through the news and through other commentators that there could be 25 propositions to be laid before us. I think that's a little bit too pocket, given our experience, recent experience, where we had just 4 propositions and we found difficulties in understanding those propositions.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. We're just 16 minutes into the program. We have 371 callers, and I'm sure it's going to get a lot more. It's going to get a lot more higher than that. And questions are piling up, so I will now begin taking your questions. If you just join us, say welcome to the Liberian Diaspora Forum weekly talk show. And as I said in my intro, tonight we don't have a big guest. We have the biggest guest, the Honorable Speaker of the House, Alex Tyler. So the rules remain the same. We ask that you be saver when asking your questions, and also since the last time we can't do one question per answer because of the number. So I would suggest, if Honorable Tyler agree with me, we'll take 2 callers at a time, and let's make that the order for now. Do you agree with that, Honorable Speaker? 2 callers?
Yeah, I do agree, but my short name is Tyler.
Tyler. My apology. Don't mind my accent. Tyler. I apologize for that. Let me apologize ahead of mispronunciation too, because I might butcher it just somewhere before the end. But I apologize. Sincerely, it's not intended to, But we'll take the first caller for the night, and your no name, just the phone numbers here. Oh, I just lost the honorable speaker. The line just dropped, so I'm assuming he's going to make a quick comeback. So just hang in there with me. He's coming right by, because I can bet that. It's coming in through my phone line, by the way. The issue of sending the conference number overseas and access code sometimes has been troubling lately for some of our callers. So I just have him call my phone, and I can connect him to the conference. And so his line just dropped. Our Tyler. Okay, so we're going to wait a little bit while he makes his way back here. Please stay where you are. Don't lose your position. Especially those in the queue. Stay with us. And while we wait, let me also announce that tomorrow Saturday, April 11th, we will be hosting Honorable Grayson Yelu from Bong County, District Number 4. Now, for the record, he's one lawmaker who is very much supportive of Proposition Number 24, making Liberia a Christian nation, almost returning Liberia to a Christian nation. But as the speaker rightly stated, there's no record indicating that Liberia was ever a Christian nation, he said. However, the founding fathers may have been Christians. So, Representative Yelu will come tomorrow about 5 p.m. Minnesota time, 6 p.m. East Coast time, to defend his position as to why Liberia should be turned to a Christian nation. He will be here. And Sunday, Judge Melvin Johnson will come to talk about the recent allegation of his legal legal license being revoked over here as a result of his corruption indictment case in the whole of this Tyler. All right, folks, I have Honorable Tyler back on the line, so welcome back, and we'll take the first caller. That's where we were. So the first caller tonight, no name, a bunch of numbers listed here without names. So I'll call the last 4 digits of your numbers, as we always do, and just tell us your name, where you're calling from, your question, comment, or concern for the honorable speaker. I'll begin with 7786, 7786. Your name, where you're calling from, your question, comment, or concern for the honorable speaker. 7786.
Yes. This is Dr. Kula calling from Atlanta.
Dr. Kula from Atlanta, Georgia.
Yes.
Yeah, welcome to
we have the honorable speaker back?
Yeah, he's back on the line. Tyler, you with me, right?
Yeah, sure, I'm here.
Yeah, sure. He's on the line. Go ahead, Dr. Kula. Dr. Kula? Oh, look like we lost.
Oh, here I am. Yeah, sorry about that.
Okay, great. All right. So go ahead.
Yes, all right. My question to the speaker is this. My concern is drawn to 4 things: our educational system, our healthcare delivery system, agriculture, and finances in terms of employment and whatnot. What laws are you all proposing in this session to help alleviate the problems that our people face when it comes to healthcare delivery? We all know how terrible it is. Most of us have brought healthcare delivery, and our asset people.
Dr. Kula, you're breaking up, Dr. Kula. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Am I coming through a little bit hurt?
Yeah, you broke up a little bit. I'm not sure if the speaker got all of the questions right. So you were talking about what role, is the legislature playing? Can you start from there?
Yeah. What role is the legislature going to play do better when it comes to healthcare delivery for our people, agriculture,
Dr. Kula, can you reposition yourself? Yeah. Almost because did you get the questions, or does he need to move somewhere else?
Am I still coming through that? Am I better now?
It's kind of on and off. You clear for a second.
Yeah, I'm not getting it very well.
Right. Okay. So you want to reposition yourself and
all right. Let me see. Let me see if I can move to a better place. Is this at all better?
Hello. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, let's give it a try again, Dr. Kula. Let's try. Let's give it a try again.
My question to the speaker: are you all going to do in this session when it comes to healthcare delivery? Our people have poor healthcare in that area. When it comes to agriculture, we have a Ministry of Agriculture that we're providing funds every year, but we don't see any benefits from that. And when it comes to education, our educational system, and finance, being the right environment for our people to be able to thrive and have jobs and create jobs and so on and so forth. So what do you guys want to know about those four major things?
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Kula. Hopefully the speaker will manage to.
I hope you relay the question. I didn't get the entire question that comes from this.
No, that's precisely why he asked for concern, education, finance. Dr. Kula, how about I keep you in the queue? I'm not going to take you out of the question area. And if you can, because quite clearly I didn't get all of it either. I thought the speaker probably, being someone who's listening to hearing the people, I thought he heard it, better than me, but apparently not. So could you still reposition yourself, and I'll come back to you so we can get your question over to the speaker, please, Dr. Kula. Those are some very good questions right there. So we'll come to it later, hopefully. Dr. Kula will reposition himself there. We'll take 8982, 8982, your name, where you're calling from, your question, comment, or concern for the honorable speaker. Are you there?
Hello?
Yeah, hello? Your name, where you calling
sir.
from, your question, comment, or concern?
Yeah, my name is King Mohammed. I am calling from Philadelphia. I just wanted to say welcome to the honorable speaker, Honorable Tyler, for accepting your invitation to come and interact with us. The premises the honorable speaker laid regarding what the benefit we seek to get as a result of a religious state. And those that funded, quote unquote, funded Liberia were all almost 99.9% Christian. Why they did not, declare Liberia at the time of the formation as a Christian state, since they were all, because I think the reason is so simple. When they came in, they met a host of people on ground, including the Muslim.
Mr. Kamara?
Yes, sir.
Do you have a question, or are you trying to explain?
Yeah, I was just trying to lay the premier. Now, having said that, it is being discussed on the international wire from analysts that Ellen Johnson Sirleaf-led government has failed the Liberian people. So the only thing she can do right now is so that people would not pay attention to whatever mess, quote-unquote mess she might have done, is to create this religious situation that would cause some fears or some tension in the country while she's gone. I want to know whether the honorable speaker subscribed to that view. That's one. Two,
Mr. Kamara, before you go to number two, though, quickly, so how is this Ellen Johnson Sirleaf creation? The people went to conference, they decided, they had a conversation about it, and you understood Mariama Fofana, when she appeared on this show the last time, she quoted the president as being completely opposed to the idea. We haven't confirmed that, but how can this be the president's making? How can you possibly accuse her of being behind this.
If you listen to me, I said it is being discussed on the international wire. That
so you don't believe it,
not
though?
From me, right?
Okay.
That on the international wire that it is Ellen because she has failed miserably. So it is her creation to kind of fuel this kind of thing into the country, so that when she is gone, nobody is going to be paying attention to what's going on. I wanted to know whether the
speaker agrees with that.
Right, Tyler subscribe to Church View. That's one. Two.
Okay.
Yeah, right. The B part of that question is, don't the entire Liberian citizenry foresee a chaos as a result of creating a religious state? With reference to what we have gone through, the 15 years of war, are we not really looking at the developmental-oriented project like Dr. Kula was talking about, education, finance, health? But instead, what benefit do we really stand to get having Liberia as a religious state? Thank you.
Thank you. Honourable Speaker, you want to comment on that? Or?
Yeah, I can do that quickly. I can do that quickly. Let me say that you rightly put it, the conference in Gbarnga was not influenced by any one branch of government or any individual. There has been a process around the country that ended up in Gbarnga for this conference. So I don't think it was influenced by anybody because a government has failed. And that, I don't think that's what I'm prepared to discuss. I think if we get Madam Sally on the line the next time, she will be in the better position to answer that question. But I do agree that we ought to look at more tangible things. Things like Dr. Kula was trying to discuss, like education, like health, like agriculture, and the well-being of the people. I think we ought to look at issues like those, because those issues, I believe, are very important to the forward movement of the country. And so the conflict parallelly aside, but we've coexisted. We've lived as better sisters over the years. We have had our own conflict, which is normal in any given in a setting. But I think our core issues now should be how we put ourselves together, how we carry on reforms that will move the country forward. I don't think propounding a religious state now as one of the propositions, you understand, will help us. However, those propositions will be coming to us. I am a Christian, let me say that. And it's staunch one of them. I'm a United Methodist. I believe in Jesus Christ and the Trinity and what have you. But I'm a Liberian, and as a leader, I think we ought to be very careful how we proceed with all of the propositions that will be presented to us.
Thank you. I'll go back to Dr. Kula. Hopefully he's repositioned himself. Dr. Kula, welcome back to the show. Can we see the slide again? Dr. Kula?
Yes.
Yeah.
Can you hear me better now?
Yeah.
Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah, a little bit, yeah.
Okay. Well, I was asking about what the legislative branch is going to do in terms of passing laws or implementing the laws on the book or the regulations and whatnot as far as education is concerned, to ensure that our people get a decent education, to ensure that our people also get decent health care delivery, as in the fact that a lot of government officials come to the USA for health care knowing that our people have terrible health care. So what are you guys going to do about health care, education, our finances in terms of creating the enabling environment for people to create more jobs for our people and for our people to get more jobs, and agriculture, where we have a Ministry of Agriculture that gets money every year in the budget, but we don't see what benefit accruing to our people. So what are you guys going to do about those major things?
Thank you, Dr. Kula. Speaker Tyler?
Yeah, he asked very good questions. I mean, he raised very good issues. But if we have to take them one at a time, we'll stay forever on the line.
Right, that's right. Actually,
let me be quick to say that those issues he raised are core issues. Yes, the Ebola situation clearly exposed our health sector, and there's a need to concentrate in that direction and improve it for the betterment of the people. I do agree with Dr. Kula on that. The educational side, and this is no attempt to throw any blame by any one branch of government. As a government, it's been terrible. But again, I remember in 2011, if I'm not mistaken, we passed a law that we thought would have helped creating boards in every district to ensure that there's an educational board and I will look at educational issues and what have you. Well, all of those will have to be supported with the needed finances to get things working. And so, yes, the educational, the health system is terrible. We're doing all we can do to improve that. The president spoke about that a few days ago, about trying to build regional hospitals around the country and to improve healthcare delivery. I do agree, especially with Dr. Kula, when he said agriculture. Liberia will not make new airplanes. Liberia is not going to manufacture new satellites and, create any new technology. Maybe we'll do that later. But what we need now, with the kind of soil we have, is to concentrate on agriculture. And so, yes, the Ministry of Agriculture needs to do more, step up to the plate to do more, to ensure that over the years, the money that we pump into agriculture go to research and development, so that at least we can be self-sufficient as a country. And I couldn't have agreed with him more. On the other issue of our finances, yes, the government is doing all to create an enabling environment. An enabling environment that will allow the private sector to boom. Given where we've come from, it's going to take some time, because there are too many things the government will have to do. We're concentrating on infrastructure, we're concentrating on building the private sector, and a whole bunch of issues that we have, but that's no excuse. I think as a government, those are challenges that we have. We haven't been able to overcome those, and we need to pay more attention to health, education, and agriculture. In fact, when those three areas are taken care of, when those three sectors are managed properly, our finances and creating jobs and improving the living standard of our people will definitely fall in place. So I couldn't have agreed with him more.
Thank you. So we'll take two callers now, two at a time. We said almost forgot that part. Our next caller will be 2080-2080. Your name, where you calling from, your question, comment, or concern for the honorable speaker. 2080.
Good evening, Speaker Tyler. My name is.
What's your name? Where you calling from?
Yeah, my name is Luis Camara,
okay.
And I actually have two questions.
Where are you calling from, Luis Camara? Where are you calling from?
I'm calling from the state of Maryland.
Okay. So, quickly, two questions quickly,
Yeah, my first question is, Umil is about to leave Liberia. From what we're reading, it should be next year, I think June, if I'm not mistaken. How prepared is Liberia's security apparatus to be able to sustain the peace in our country? Yeah. Two, Dr. Kula did bring out a very important issue, and that has to do with agriculture. Even though I live in the diaspora, but I have invested heavily in the rubber industry in Liberia. Now, rubber farmers who I talk to, including myself, we are not making any money out of our investment. And for some of us, we took our money and put it into Liberia, and wishing that we can have a healthy retirement. Now that the rubber industry is not functioning well, what is the Liberian government doing to be able to help the rubber farmers?
Thank you. 2 questions. We'll take a second caller here. 3050-3050. Your name, where you calling from, your question, comment, or concern for the honorable speaker. 3050.
Okay. Thank you. My name is Calebo Gonglo. If I don't sound clear, please excuse me now.
Very clear, Mr. Gonglo. You clear. Go ahead.
I'm also coughing. Let me say hi to the honorable speaker.
Thank you.
I have one question and a comment that is not specifically addressed to the speaker as such, but just to those people on the list, on the forum. My question to the speaker is: I follow of late at the Senate, and I believe probably at the House. I'm not too sure about the House with Finance Committee, but there has been repeated hearing by the legislature on GAC report, past reports of GAC. In fact, I think in the front page Africa edition of yesterday, they have cited commissioners of the elections of NEC over GAC report. I see that as a good sign of activities, but I'm also worried that the legislature itself has a cardinal responsibility on the TRC report. It seems like we swept that responsibility away. We don't hear the legislature talk about the implementation of this TRC again. It is catching dogs. I don't know where the speakers stand at this point, because you are a pace setter at the legislature. You are the third person, the third highest ranking government official in Liberia. You set the agenda, basically. Where do you stand on the TRC? We would like to know that. Then, if I can, hello?
Hello? Yeah, we got your question. You said you had a comment too.
Yeah, if I can just make a quick comment. I'm a little bit worried on this Proposition 24. Before I make my comment, let me just let me state my position. I'm not in favor of so-called religious bill or religious clause in the Constitution. However, I'm a little bit worried about the manner in which those who present their opposition to that proposed proposition, they are presenting it. It just beat logic and it beat for me my imagination. I don't think they are doing themselves or anyone any good in the way they present the argument. Here is my concern. If you look historically, I mean, we're not going to go to medieval time, but I'm talking about modern history of constitution. If you look just right across Africa, there are countries in Africa that in their constitution, they have stated that they are Islamic state. And in those countries, Muslims and Christians live in harmony. And not that there are not conflict in those countries, but the conflict in those countries are conflict between Muslims, different sects of Muslims, not conflict between Muslim and Christian. Let's take, for example, Egypt. Muslim Mubarak helped Egypt as a state. The Orthodox Christians lived there, and there was no conflict until he was on power.
I'm afraid we'll have to leave it there. We've got a lot of callers on the line. We've got your point. On the speaker, the floor is yours, sir.
Yeah, let me take Gonglo, Mr. Gonglo first.
And then Luis
we talk about what has been done with the GAC and what is our position on the TRC.
Right.
And what has been done with implementation. The TRC is a very bulky document. It carries a lot of recommendations. And some of the recommendations contained therein have got to do with reparation town hall meetings, and those things that will restore peace to our country. And so the president is on an obligation to report to the legislature and been doing that, except for the period of the Ebola when we had a situation. But some of those issues, including town hall meetings, have been encouraged. And so if you want to ask what will be our position about the TRC report, we presented a position ever since it came to us a few years back. We were serving as speaker at the time. We thought first it was important to take seize of the TRC report and have discussion with our people. And we made our position very clear. We made our position clear, yeah, we had conflict. People got killed. We don't want people to go impunity. However, we are very careful to how we proceed, or we should be very careful how we proceed. People will come down the same slippery slope. And so the TRC report is, the implementation of the TRC report is a process, and part of the process, the processes are all laid down in the report. And I think gradually the government is moving step by step in addressing those issues. On the issue of the first question, the first caller, he talks about the rubber sector and agriculture. What is the government doing?
Before you move to the first caller, what's his name? Gonglo, he just answered his question of about TRC, but also he said he was concerned about the way and the manner in which those who are opposed to proposition number 24 are approaching the issue. He said that beats his imagination, quoting him exactly. So I think he wanted to know whether you are equally concerned. Is that a concern?
Yeah, I'm concerned, and I think Gonglo is right on that. Those of our brothers are opposed to the proposition. You found a way to present it, and like somebody said the other day, don't threaten, the other side. We think that we can stay coexist. We don't have to make it play a religious state before we move forward. But again, there's a way to present an argument, and I think the best way to present an argument or to win this kind of debate is to be persuasive. And that's why I agree with Gonglo. Some, not all of them, some are presenting the argument in a way that seems to threaten the peace and security of the nation. That should not be. I do not agree with anybody doing that. We shouldn't do that. We should be civil. We should present it, articulate our views in a way that bring the kind of result that we want, because all of us love Liberia. All right? And on the issue of the first caller, the government is doing so much in the rubber sector, because he was very concerned about the rubber sector. The government is doing so much in the rubber sector. Then I'll be doing so in all of the areas of agriculture, but in the rubber sector, the government is doing has done an intervention presented to through the central bank to the African Bank to intervene in a way that helps the people in the rubber sector, because the price of rubber, and this is a global problem, implemented in a way that is creating a problem in the economy, because the rubber sector is a very viable sector in our economy, in the Liberian economy, and is of concern. So the government has made intervention in that direction by providing loan and making other interventions that will help the farmers to quickly get on their feet. For who may draw down, there has been a discussion over the period. And so our security forces are doing everything to see how we can take care of security on who may leave. I'm not privy to all of the discussion. I'm not authorized, let me put it that way, to relate to you all of the discussion we had. But I think giving the drawdown phase gradual, it will prepare us as we prepare ourselves to take over the security of the country.
Thank you. Thank you, Honorable Speaker Tyler. Folks, so many of you have joined us within the last 10-15 minutes, and it's my pleasure to welcome you to the Liberian Diaspora Forum weekly talk show, special edition with the Speaker of the House, Honorable Alex Tyler. Tomorrow, we will have the privilege of hosting Honorable Zach Gruson, Yelu from Bong County, District number 4. And for the record, he's coming to support Proposition number 4, turning Liberia to Christian nation. He claimed he has all of the justification, so he'll be on here tomorrow. You don't want to miss that. And then, of course, Sunday, Judge Marvin Johnson, who is said to have lost his law practice privilege here because of the Liberian government corruption allegation. He will be on Sunday to explain otherwise. So welcome to the show. If you have any question, comment, or concern, please dial *61, *61, and we will take your question. But mind you, we have so many callers ahead of you. Let's take the next two callers. 3878-3878. Your name, where you calling from, your question, comment, or concern for the honorable speaker. 3878.
Yes, sir. My name is Dennis Sewan. I'm calling from Virginia Beach, from the state of Virginia. Welcome, Speaker. I have two questions. One is have to do with the concept of civil society, and it had to do with just ended constitutional conference in Gbarnga and proposal of turning Liberia to a Christian state. And I have listened to the debate from both sides. And my question to the speaker here is that, even though it might be considered hypothetical, but if, because the legislature have a role to play in even allowing the process to go forward to the general public for a referendum. And my question to the speaker, if that process is successful, let's say that 2/3 of the both chambers approve that process, if that process is successful, will the speaker accept that as the way of the people and allowing the process to go on? It might be sound hypothetical. My second question here is that had to do with the economic. One of the reports we're getting from back home is that most of the Liberia right now we have, I don't know, dual currencies and so forth, where there are a lot of infiltration of foreigners, specifically with the intent of having the opportunity to have foreign currency, the U.S. dollar, and the money is not then invested in Liberia, but rather at wire back to their prospective country. Is the legislature going to look into that as to putting a cap as to how much United States dollars is wired out of the country, because the foreign currency is needed for developmental purposes back home, and these people are coming in to invest, and they're coming in with the purpose of gaining access to the U.S. dollar, which they cannot do, quote unquote, in their home, but rather the dollar is then transported back to the home, and the country is not benefiting. There's no any development or anything that they are engaging. So it's yeah. Thank you. Just go.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you. The question is well taken. We'll take another caller, and then we'll go to the speaker. 1350-1350. Your name, where you calling from, your question, comment, or concern for the honorable speaker. 1350.
Yes, my name is Osman Toure from New York City, and my question to the speaker is that I have two questions. The first one is how the committee, the just ended conference in Gbarnga, how the committee was constituted. Was it under the blessing of the both chamber, or it was done by the executive branch? And number two question is
how the committee what?
Can you speak a little louder? Yeah. How was the committee funded in Gbarnga? Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, how the committee was formed in Gbarnga. Was it done under the blessing of the legislation, or it was just done by the executive branch of the government? And
okay.
Number two is, it's been 2 years now, 2 consecutive years, the entrance to LU, it's been like 99.9% failures of students. I want to know who is being taking responsibility of that. Who is taking responsibility? Is anybody being wholly responsible for those things? Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Speaker Tyler?
Yeah, okay. The first caller is concerned is that assuming the proposition are laid down before the legislature, and it will receive a 2/3 vote of both chambers whether we were accepted. I want to say emphatic yes. That's part of the democratic process. Definitely, when the House vote 2/3, the legislature, it is our responsibility to transmit what the legislature has decided to the public, as a law. And so, as a presiding officer, I have no way of doing that. So there shouldn't be any fear about that. What we can do as leaders is what we're doing now. And the opportunity we have to speak on this issue first. We are Liberians before being leaders, and we are leaders for the country. So we're on our obligation to speak. It doesn't mean that we will not honor a decision reached by the people's representatives. That's one. Number two, on the issue of the dual currency, yes, there are restrictions. You don't take more than $10,000 out of the country when you are leaving, or whatever you do, have to go through the bank. And I think dual currency, one of the issues that I understand that has been proffered from the conference in Gbarnga. And I would think, in my mind, if you want to hear my personal opinion on this, I don't know how can we do that in the Constitution. How do we look at dual currency in the Constitution? Because I do believe that is strictly a policy matter that could be handled outside the Constitution, could be handled statutorily. A statute could handle that would be the will of the people. A statute could handle that. However, I understand it's would be part of the proposition that would be presented to us. So, but again, there are safeguards. We have a law on money laundering. The safeguards are the bank to ensure that these things are taken care of. So the issue of dual currency, yes, one of those propositions that we're supposed to discuss. Mr. Touré asked 2 things, and one was about the CRC, the Constitutional Review Committee. The Constitutional Review Committee is not a body that was acted by the legislature, because we already had a law reform committee, and law reform commission, and when they were proposed, we thought that it remained at a committee and not a commission. So we're careful not to create too many commissions, especially when we already had a law reform commission. And the argument was that it remain as a committee and go and see how it could review the Constitution. So an answer to the question is yes, it was done by the executive, but the legislature, it was in the know of the legislature that this committee was established to review the Constitution. On the issue of the LU entrance and who to be blamed, the folks at the university are doing their best to put the necessary guidelines into process, being processed to ensure that the entrance, and I think they gave one quite recently, and because of the Ebola, that most of the schools were closed, but the university is now open again. I'm sure the issue of the entrance will be looked into. I know maybe referring to the time when almost all the students are understand fail the national exam. And, of course, there is a whole lot of concerns. Those concerns are being addressed. And so I think the university family is doing everything possible to ensure that the learning condition is improved.
Yeah, Tyler, thank you. Before I take the next set of questions, going back to that money laundering thing, I heard you say that there are some laws on the book, including people not being allowed to take $10,000 or more than $10,000 out of the country. My question is, how do you enforce laws like that? Do you instruct the banks to say, we don't care whether the money belongs to the man or not, but when it comes, you cannot take more than this? Or you got people at the various border to make sure that people are physically searched to make sure they're not traveling with more than a certain amount of dollars? How are those laws enforced?
We have all of the equipment at the airport to detect all of those things, and the pricing and, the luggage and what have you will be searched. But again, the process is such that you go to the bank. And if you wanted to move money, you go to the bank. And for instance, if it's for commercial purpose, you go through the process and the bank will do the transaction. If it's for goods, the bank will do the transfer and what have you. If it's an individual, you have to indicate why you taking the money away. I mean, the bank will have to approve that. If the bank doesn't approve that, it becomes a problem when you get to the airport and you could be arrested. And so we have laws, including law on money laundering.
Speaker Tyler, you're making it look as if to say the airport is the exit point. What if the man take the money, the physical cash on him, and head to Ivory Coast, Guinea, Sierra Leone? How do you restrict that and fly out of that?
Well, again, you will agree with me that I do agree. Our border posts are our borders are porous, and that's a possibility. But again, that's a possibility that those things will probably happen. But I'm telling you, the laws we have on the books, and what we do to do that. So once somebody does that, then they put themselves in another category altogether.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Yeah.
Let's take some more calls. Folks, welcome to the Liberian Diaspora Forum. We are extremely privileged to have the honorable speaker on the line tonight. This is remarkable. It was holiday in Liberia today, fast and prayer day, I understand. And it's not just, it's almost beyond my imagination to have an honorable public servant talking to us on the holiday. It's private time. I can't thank him enough for accepting the invitation at a very short notice. So thank you, Honorable Speaker. Let's hear from 6655. 6655, your name, where you're calling from, your question, comment, or concern for the Honorable Speaker. Are you there? 6655.
Hello?
Hello?
Yeah.
Your name, where you're calling from, your question, comment, or concern.
Yeah, my name is Evan Dennis from
Edu, you're very low. I can barely hear you. Can you speak a little louder?
I said, Evan Dennis from Pennsylvania.
No, I can't hear a thing. It's not going to work. Can you reposition yourself? Can you hear me? I'll come to you later. You need to reposition yourself. We can't hear you. I'll keep you in the question line here. I'll come back to you later. 8961, 8961, your name, where you calling from, your question, comment, or concern for the Honorable Speaker.
My name is Musa Trawale from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. My question to the Honorable Speaker has to do with the recent corruption allegation levied against him in the House by some of his colleagues, which led to several disturbances in the House and not doing the Liberian people's job by the representatives at the time. My question is, what is the funding of that case now, and whether he cared to exonerate himself before the listening public today? And second, I heard the Honorable Speaker mention that the Proposition 24 was not influenced by an individual. But I want to disagree with him respectfully by informing him that some of us heard about names associated with lobbying for this particular Proposition 24, named like Senator Joel Taylor, Howard Taylor, and named like Representative Gabriel Yekam. Does he care to speak to those issues, whether those people in any case individually also influence the issue of this Proposition 24?
Okay, thank you. I will take another caller. 0939. Your name, where you calling from? Your question, comment, or concern for the honorable speaker.
Yes, hello?
Hello.
Yes, my name is Jenekai Tyler. I'm calling from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania.
Doma, welcome to the show, Mr. Doma.
Okay. Oh, I have a suggestion before asking two questions.
Okay.
Mr. Speaker, the free flow of communication between the people and their leader is a good ingredient in promoting good governance. We are hearing the speaker today. When are we going to hear him again? 2-3 years? I want to suggest that you create an avenue through which we in the diaspora will be able to hear from you. I want you to also create an avenue or conduit where we can send you suggestions. In this country, even if you raise foolish things to the leaders, yet they will respond to you. I am an ordinary person. I wrote President Obama. I got response. I wrote his wife. I got response. We want to hear from you. We want to make suggestions to you. Okay. My question is, Mr. Speaker, corruption is too much in Liberia. The laws we have are not working. And one of the major things is those who are supposed to implement the laws are not implementing the laws. What are you and your colleagues doing to hold these people accountable? Those people that are supposed to implement the laws are not doing it. What are you doing to even hold yourself accountable? Because you people don't obey laws, the officials. You're talking about going to airport with money. When senators and representatives go to the airport, they go with large sum of money. They don't check you people. What are you doing to hold yourself accountable? The second question is, some of your colleagues are saying that you want to run for president in 2017. You are organizing a political party. You are asking your colleagues to make contributions so you can be able to organize that party. Anybody who refuses, you get angry with them. So now you don't speak to some of them. How can you address that?
All right. Thank you. Honorable Speaker.
Thank you. Let me say to Brother Doma that I point and comments I were taken. The one that has to do with hearing from the people and the people speaking to their leaders. Communication is very, very vital, and I think we need to encourage that. Let me talk to the last question he asked about the presidency and my colleagues. And I think we ought to process information when we hear them and try to digest properly. I'm just first among equals. I'm a representative first of Clay District. Before being elected by my colleagues, I do not run a ministry where if I'm annoyed or get angry with a colleague, I say you are dismissed or you are suspended. The decision in the legislature is always by majority, and where it has to affect a colleague is by 2/3. So how can someone say that the speaker is imposing on his colleagues? Let me state for the record here that I am a member of the Ruling Unity Party, a National Executive Committee member of the Ruling Unity Party. And the issue about having presidential ambition is a matter of right. And whenever I decide to do so, I will be honorable enough to inform the Liberian people. In fact, it's only through that channel that people would know my intention. And it's a matter of right. If whatever I decide, I will inform the Liberian people, because it will be me asking them to say, I want to be, so vote for me. So nobody should preempt that or try to read my mind or my intention. On the issue of corruption in Liberia, a lot has been done to fight corruption in Liberia. Again, on our watch, we created most of the agencies we hear about today. We strengthened the General Auditing Commission. We created the Liberia Anti-Corruption Commission. We created the Liberia, what you call the Internal Audit Agency that does pre-audit before government spending any money. All right? And the reason I think you're hearing these issues about corruption, because the agencies are created and people are going after corruption cases. Before you never used to hear that I live in the country all my life, people never used to hear about the issue of corruption. Because this government is trying to fight corruption, that's why you hear about that in the first place. And so there are institutions that we put together. For instance, the one I just named to you, the GSC do their periodic report, other institutions, and submit their funding to the legislature as a matter of law. The legislature, through international support from the European Union and other bilateral institutions, has a secretariat set up at the legislature, headed by the secretariat has a head as that member of the legislature that runs the secretariat. All right, and all the reports go there, they are analyzed, and then the other things are brought forward for questioning. So this government is doing everything to fight corruption in many ways, and so I want to be on record for that. On the issue that were asked about Mr. Talawari, that is his name. I hope I got it right.
Yeah.
I think, first of all, he said something that I didn't believe I said. All right? The issue that has to do with the proposition for the Pope. I didn't understand when he said that I said he would not disagree with me respectfully. Mm-hmm. And you were asking whether I could say with certainty whether I knew whether Senator Howard Taylor and Honorable Yekan were people that were pushing the proposition. I can show you that I was in Gbarnga during the opening of the conference on Monday, and after I spoke and left from there, I heard the next day there was a huge confusion as to what the delegates wanted presented, because I think the CRC presented less than what was expected. I think there were, if I'm not mistaken, there were 10 propositions presented when we were there. When we left, the argument was when they went around the country, other issues came out that brought the proposition, I think, to at least 25. And so I don't know for a fact. I do not know for a fact as to whether Representative Yekan or Senator Taylor influenced anything during the conference. I was not there, so I can say it was something there. The other issue of our colleagues in the legislature, the allegation they made, as far as I do know, the legislature as a body, as they were, police must have made allegations, but if you are following, they withdrew the allegation because they knew very well that them not doing it, they never had substance, and there was nothing to tap into the issue they were raising, and they had no obligation whenever they think I'm involved with corruption, they are bound to bring it to the fore of the public or to confront me. As far as I know, few colleagues raised an issue, and the issue was looked into, and there was no substance in the issue, because on the issue where they talk about corruption, I was not even the one who led that process. That process was led by my deputy, and was made clear in a report. So to speak to that, I want to stop there, because if we have to go through that, I'm going to take all the rest of the night.
Okay.
All right? But
Thank you.
far as I do know, our colleagues have not confronted me on anything of that nature, because there were issues. There's no opposition everywhere. There were issues. Colleagues felt somehow indifferent to what was obtaining, and that's politics. They raised some issues, those issues were addressed, and we are moving forward. The House of Representatives is moving forward.
Thank you. Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Next, we'll hear from, I believe this is unavailable, even though I've received text messages as to who it is. It could be Sia, is this you?
So why do you have to go there? Okay.
Well, I don't know. So can you tell us where you're calling from and then your question, comment, or concern?
Good afternoon, Kafumba. Nice to hear from you. Speaker Tyler, I greet you.
Yes,
my name is Sia, and I'm calling from Washington, D.C. Speaker, I must say that, leadership plays a critical but poorly understood role in determining the success or failure of the processes of negotiations within institutions. Liberians are faced with a leadership crisis, I believe, as the state lacks structural...
You're breaking up. I hear you.
I
hear myself perfectly.
You say breaking up. I need to slow down. And if I may ask you, you need to transition from that American series and make it for me. When you talk to me, bring it with the Liberian accent a little bit, please. Yeah.
Perhaps, I know.
Okay.
You can't fault me. You can't fault me on that. But
I know, yes,
okay.
Just go ahead.
But depending on how the speaker answers, I may break into Liberian jargon, so let's keep going.
Okay.
But I'd say that, Speaker, leadership is critical, right? Having effective leadership. But it's poorly understood in determining the success of, in the process of negotiations within a state. Liberians are actually at this time faced with a leadership crisis as the state lacks, leaders who are integrous, who have the structural and intellectual ability and to operate in the interest of the state. The Liberian people have a certain expectation of you as the Speaker of the House of Representatives, and that is for you to accountably, integrally, and transparently rule on parliamentary questions, legislations, writs and warrants, and some other responsibilities. The concept of the rule of law is a political idea, and within this ideal, you are expected to exhibit certain features in terms of your office: accessibility, procedural fairness, evidence, and so forth. I ask you this question: what has been your role to ensure the satisfaction of the basic human needs and economic security of the Liberian people? Because Dr. Kula spoke and asked a very, very poignant question, and all of a sudden it seemed like there wasn't this epiphany in your answer that, oh, yes, this is a good question. Yeah, we're working on agriculture and human, providing basic human services to the Liberian people. Why belatedly in 10 years with this administration? I know you recently got there. Will it be important? Yeah, I'm wrapping it up. Yeah. So my question to you is, what has been your role to ensure that the Liberian people, through your office, have the economic security that they need in order to move the country forward? And then secondly, since your refusal to recuse yourself until the findings of the LACC investigation had been rendered, what has been your role in unifying the House? Because I know they were greatly divided over you staying in office.
Thank you. What has been his role in unifying the House? Thank you, Sia. We'll take the second caller, and then we'll turn the microphone over to the honorable speaker. 5992-519192. Your name, where you're calling from, your question, comment, or concern for the honorable speaker. 5192.
Thank you very much. My name is Mohammed Dole. I'm calling from Minnesota. Honorable Speaker, you as lawmaker, do you legislate on God-given rights such as religion, sex, such as being a man, a woman, being white or black? Do you legislate on those laws? Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Dole. Honorable Speaker, it's all yours.
Well, let me answer Mr. Dole first. I think the Constitution speaks clearly on the rights of individuals, on fundamental rights, right of religion to be freely practiced and other issues that has got to do with the rights of people. And so I think no constitution should prohibit that, the right of the people. In fact, the Constitution is intended to safeguard those rights. And so if I will answer him, because he asked a general question, I don't think we should legislate that. I don't think any constitution should be having that as the focus point. Instead, the Constitution should defend those rights. There should be provision in the Constitution that defend the rights of people. Coming back to Sia, she came up with a bunch of issues, and what I've done personally, I think that's what she's doing. She asked, and let me say, she rightly said that leadership is critical. There are a whole lot that's expected from a leader. That's why I don't throw blame. I take responsibility for what I do. Once I know I'm doing it with my conscience. And on the issue of economic security, on the rule of law, what we have done and will continue to do is to come up with those legislation that protect or that encourages the legislation. We'll come up with legislation that encourage rule of law, legislation that bring about economic development to the people, such as the recent reform in the oil sector, when we thought that it was necessary. The legislature, not just Alex Tyler, the entire legislature was unanimous in ensuring that we reform the sector. We have done so, and it's for the future. If we find oil, fine. If we do not find oil, nobody is going to hold responsible, but just in case they will do that, we impose safeguards in place in the reform to ensure that there will be local content that benefit the people directly. There will be revenue management. There will be other things that will help Liberia in terms of how they participate in the industry and what have you. And so it's an ongoing process. And leadership being critical is an ongoing process. A whole lot is expected from the government. But as a government, we have to, from time to time, ensure that we do those things that are right. Coming to the issue of recusing myself, I don't know whether my sister understands it better. So once someone raises an allegation against you, you recuse yourself. I don't think that's how it works. I think the allegation must be supported by evidence. Not just anybody coming and saying, no, Sia is, culpable of A, B, and C, and we say, Sia, please stop being a Liberian because you've been accused of A, B, and C. And I think that's the case here. And so I do know as a lawyer that whatever you do must be supported by evidence, and those who make the allegation are not able to present evidence, including the LSCC. So if she has been following, she will understand exactly that the LSCC have not been able to present an evidence to the allegation or whatever she's speaking about. And that's why I say I don't want to dwell on this much. I thought we should talk about more substantive issues in this conversation than coming to the issue about the LSCC and, my personal issue. Because I'm not above the law. If the LSCC found me to be culpable, they have laid down procedures. We have laws in the country to follow just that. The LSCC as an institution must be honorable as well, not to take people's character because you've been given the opportunity to serve. And so if she follow the issues, or whoever did, we understand that the LSCC, instead of coming with evidence, choose the code of public opinion to come up with the issues that they thought they had against me. I thought I was political, and I still believe it's politically motivated. That's why I don't want to speak much here. I think I want this conversation to continue along the line it's going. Of course, I'm not going to restrict people from asking the question. To want to ask, or you ask a question, I will encourage that ask a question that will help the discussion. Don't ask a question that leaves people confused. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, our speaker. Again, if you just joining us, I'd like to welcome you to the Liberian Diaspora Forum Weekly Talk Show, special edition on Friday. And I also like to remind you that tomorrow, God's willing, Representative Gerson Yellow. Speaker, am I saying that name right? Is that his name? I know the Yellow part, I get that. What is his first name?
Yeah, Garrison Yellow, yes.
Garrison Yellow will be our guest tomorrow. And he's coming purposely to defend proposition number 24 as to why Liberia must be a Christian nation. You don't want to miss that. He will be here tomorrow, and the day after tomorrow, Sunday, Judge Belvy Johnson, who is said to have lost his law license, practice license in the U.S. based on corruption allegation in Liberia, will come on Sunday to state otherwise. So I encourage you to tune in. Right now we have 713 callers on the line, and I have 77 questions waiting. I'm not sure if we can accommodate all of that because we got about 40 minutes or so left in the program. We'll keep going, however. We'll take the next caller. That will be 1406-1406. Your name, where you calling from, your question, comment, or concern for the honorable speaker. 1406.
Thank you. My name is Wilfred Wayne, and I'm calling from Tennessee. And I got a quick comment before I ask my question.
All right.
My question is about Article 14. First of all, it's about this Christian nation. Well, I think anything short of Article 14 takes away fundamental right for Liberians. So I want to know where the speaker stands when it comes to that. The Religious Freedom Act.
Article 14 of the Liberian Constitution, right?
Yep.
Okay. So is that your question?
Well, yeah, the question is because that Article 14, it says the country cannot establish a religion. It cannot belong to a religion. And every religion has the same right and freedom. Under this, I'm assuming, under this Christian Act thing, it has to go away before it will be true. So if that goes away, how true is the religious freedom for the rest of the people who are not Christians? That's my question.
And I hope you bring that question back tomorrow to the representative who is coming to defend the argument of Liberia being a Christian nation. So we'll take another caller. 7867-7867. Your name, where you calling from, your question, comment, or concern for our speaker.
Okay, thank you very much. My name is Musa Keita. I'm calling from Minnesota. Good evening, honorable speaker. Yeah, this is your former classmate, Musa M. Keita, over here in the EU. My first question is where is the Liberian people money that you took along with your colleague $1 million to go around the country to put forth an all law that has not taken any effect? That's the first thing. Secondly, do you have interest in becoming president after Madam Sally leaves office? Thank you.
Thank you. Our speaker.
Yeah, thank you. The first caller talked about Article 14 and the freedom of religion, fundamental rights of people. And where do I stand on that? I think I support the article in the Constitution. People should have the right to worship freely and in the manner they choose, and that should be undisturbed. And I hope that we all understand that. I think my brother has been, on the second caller, I think my brother has been a little bit emotional. Asking for the Liberian people money, we conducted a reform that took us around the country for more than a month. And until he reads the report and it appears so you can give him a number and, you know, that my cell number, and you can text me an email address, and I'll mail a copy of the report to him. The money was used for the intended purpose. It was to reform the sector, and I think we've done that, and the benefit is not immediate. Now that we have an oil law that conforms to best practice, when there's a discovery in the future where Liberia discover oil, it will be an instrument that will guide the sector, and I hope that Liberians and Liberia will benefit from such a law. On the issue of I wanting to become president, I guess answer, I hope Musa was listening, that is a matter of right. Whenever I decide that, or when he decide he will announce to the Liberian people, if I decide to succeed Madam Salif, that will be my prerogative. I will have to make that declaration to the Liberian people, including those of you in the diaspora. And so that's a matter of right. I don't know why people making it an issue.
Okay. Thank you. Still moving on. We'll keep taking calls. Then next we'll hear from 2919-2919. Your name, where you calling from, your question, comment, or concern for the Honorable Speaker. 2919. Hello, 2919, are you there? James Lazar? James, are you there?
Hello, hello.
Hello?
Yeah.
Hey,
this is James Lazar.
Okay.
Well, calling from the state of Maryland, and I'm glad to be participating in this at this hour. And just by way of introduction, I want to say that I'm a former elected representative who once served in the legislature, and I have several questions for the speaker, but I think I'm limited to just two or so. So let me proceed. The first question to the speaker, Mr. Moderator, just in case the speaker forgets, let me remind him about why isn't there any modern information technology means which citizens get to know the activities of the legislature, such as their record, which is very, very important, especially regarding the various concessionaires that have been passed to the total disagreement and over the total discontent of the Liberian public. Whether, in fact, as a very young man, that under his leadership, he has now seen that as a very critical leadership tool that even if it never occurred to him before, and what is his position now that I'm asking about making such information available to the Liberian people. Okay. Most particularly their voting record. I don't want to hear
that question.
The question of the modern technology, why isn't there, a mechanism in this day and age as to show their record?
Voting record.
Voting record, right?
Yeah, voting record. We want to know how you guys vote on every law.
Right.
It's
who voted for, who voted against.
This day and time. That's one.
The various, yeah, okay.
Thank you. And the second one is, especially in the current government, I know he's the second speaker so far, but the record of, it's easy to say we the one created the Liberia Anti-Corruption Commission, the this and that. It's easy to say that. I'm not sure that is accurate. I'm not sure if it was just left to you, you would do that. That is a dictate of generation. We demand that certain institutions exist, and that is also the dictate of
the question, what's the next question?
I don't agree with you that you should credit yourself for that. But the question is in view of the widespread. I'm coming in view of the widespread report.
I'm limited on time. I've got lots of people waiting. What's the next question?
Mr. Moderator, I'm surprised that you interrupted me when I haven't done anything much yet. When I'm only on my second question. He just allow me to learn.
I'm encouraging you to come with a second question. We're tight on time, Mr. James.
Thank you.
Yeah. Are you coming with a second question?
report of widespread corruption in the country, especially given the recent murder or death of Allison, in a way that is connected to you, that you haven't taken any action. My question to you is that the best you can do in the given circumstances as a speaker, a leader in the country who might or might not be directly or indirectly connected to the death of a human being, and that you have not personally or at least as a leader demonstrated any good faith attempt to demonstrate this transparency to assurance to the Liberian people? That's the second question. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Jim Lazo.
What's the former legislator name, please?
I didn't ask that. Mr. Jim Lazo, what's your former legislator name?
Mr. James Lazo. I used to represent Bong County.
You used to represent Bong County?
Yeah.
Okay, I did not know that. I didn't. So, thank you for your service. All right, that's Jim Lazo. I will take the next caller, and then the senator will the speaker will take it from there. 1728-1728. Your name, where you calling from, your question, comment, or concern. 1728.
Yeah, thank you very much for recognizing me and for picking my call. My name is Manu Berete, and I call from Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Honorable Speaker, true student. I call you true student because we are all Samites. Having said that, I want to make a comment before I go to ask my questions. One, there was a caller who talked about the issue of Islamic states. You have to look at the history of those countries vis-a-vis the history of Liberia. Before the coming of the settlers, they had other religions there. So based on that, they form a government at the exclusion of those people. So that's why I'm going to take you to the preamble, Honorable Speaker. Paragraph 2 of the Liberian Constitution, the 1986 Constitution. It reads, let me forget about the first one because it's a little longer one, and I want to make sure that I make maximum use of the time. Realizing from the many experiences during the course of our national existence, which culminated in the Revolution of April 12, 1980, when our Constitution of July 26, 1847 was suspended, that all of our people, irrespective of history, tradition, creed, or ethnic background, are one common body politic, exercising our natural, inherent, and inalienable rights to establish a framework of government for the purpose of promoting unity, liberty, stability, peace, equality, and justice. And also talk about promoting cultural advancement under the rule of law and human rights. So if you don't see problem with people threatening to take the human rights of others, why do you see problem with people saying that I will defend my human rights with the last blood? South Africa, we saw it when the blacks were being marginalized. They stood up. Nelson Mandela was hailed as a hero, and they defended their rights with blood. Human rights are always defended with that.
What's the question?
That's the first one. My question now is that if you are not disappointed in those people, because I see that they are casted, they are trying to change the whole thing around. What threatens national security is the issue of you taking somebody's right from it that will not promote unity, peace, stability, and tolerance. So that's the threat to national security. So, the second question now is, I'm kind of suspecting that the TRC chair, Girl Mususka, who is also a former chief justice on the chancellor government, that she's working in cahoot with Joe Taylor because most of the fighters. Yeah, that's the second question, but I need to give a premise to you, otherwise it will be lacking all of the ingredients.
Time left. Just go to the question.
Okay. So they all belong to the NPP, which was ousted by former militia dominated by Muslims. So don't you think that she's been manipulated? So it's a payback time, because we didn't hear about this whole religious issue, article 24 or issue number 24 in Bong County. Why is it that it was smuggled by those two individuals and carried to Bong County?
Thank you. I'm going to leave it there. Honorable Speaker.
Yeah, thank you. I don't know, but I won't be able to speak to that, to the issue, the last question you raised, as to people manipulating and imputing or inciting the issue of religion into the proposition that will be presented to us. But on the first issue, I thought all the while we've been talking over the last 1 hour plus that we tend to say as leaders it's important to keep the peace we have. It's important to coexist. And though I'm a Christian, but I think we have a lot of issues that we need to look at, and religion should not be one of the issues. But now I've said that over and again, and so I don't know why he disagrees with me. So I think we could be saying the same thing. On the issue of the former lawmaker who called, again, people must understand the issues. And I'm surprised that as a lawmaker who claimed to be a former lawmaker will ask questions like he didn't understand the issue, and the two issues he raised are issues that have been dealt with, and in fact the last issue was dealt with scientifically. As a government, we were under obligation for all of the allegations that were raised to say, conduct an autopsy of the body, and 2 autopsies were done, and a report was given by the Justice Ministry. The House of Representatives expressed sympathy to the bereaved family. That's what we could do. Speaker Alex Tyler or Jenekai Tyler could not say anything because just when the brother died, they were accusing fingers pointed at me for no reason. And what do I say about something I do not know? I learn to keep mute and do not have information on a particular subject matter. That's why I did not speak. All right? But human life is precious. Nobody wants somebody to die. And I think our brother needs to be a little bit civil when he presented his argument because he helps all of us to understand the issue. Or the issue of he thinking that we're taking credit. Nobody is taking credit. We just want to let the public know that on our watch, these institutions were established, and we did so to ensure that we'll be careful how they proceed. That at least to know that somebody's watching, that they have a system or their guideline and safeguards in place. But I'm trying to take a specific credit for anything, so he got me completely wrong. And I hope next time he try to calm down his emotion and present his issue properly. Because it's intended for all of us to understand. It should be void of malice. It should be void of his emotion and his personal feelings. This is one Liberia, our common patrimony. And when we discuss in Liberia, we need to be a bit civil with one another. Like you could sit to where I'm sitting today. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. We'll soon get you out of here. I can promise you we'll soon get you to bed. Moving on. 8162. Your name, where you're calling from, your question, comment, or concern for Speaker Tyler. Hello, are you there? 8162? 8162, are you there?
Yeah, hello?
Hello? What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Yeah, my name is Mohammed Swari. I call from the city of Philadelphia.
Okay.
Yeah, I have a question for the speaker. I want to know what were the mechanisms put in place in selecting delegates that went to Gbarnga, and who were those that came up with those propositions, meaning the proposition 24, how they really came about, that they want to make Liberia a Christian state.
Okay. Mr. Sorry, I don't know if you just joined the conference, but I think the speaker has addressed that portion several times today. CRC, Constitutional Review Committee, and the whole 9 years. So I don't know when you joined the line, but I will leave it up to the speaker, judgment, if he wants to touch on it again. So what's your other question? You say you had 2 questions, right?
Yeah. My second question has to do with, it is not really a question, but like a suggestion. Because looking at the tension associated with the proposition 24, the religious issue here, I want to know what are the leadership doing, the speaker, the president, and maybe the vice president, to see reason and inject this particular clause out of the whole constitutional review stuff. There are a lot of issues that need to be handled. Because looking at the religious stuff, it have overshadowed the whole constitutional review issue. Are there any plan to inject the particular clause out of the whole thing and then continue with the rest of the proposition? Thank you.
Yeah, again, I don't know, they spoke to that issue. In fact, that was my opening remark, talking about, the issue overshadowing everything else. But it looked like this joined us. I'll let the speaker, to deal with them though. The second caller before the speaker takes the stage. 545454. Your name, where you calling from, your question, comment, or concern for the speaker.
Yes, hello. My name is Jenekai Tyler. Hello. Yeah, my name is Jenekai.
Yeah, go ahead, Jenekai Augustus. Yeah.
Yeah, my name is Jenekai Augustus Sudi. I'm calling from Madison, Wisconsin.
Okay, welcome to the show.
Yeah, I have a concern and two questions.
Okay.
And my concern, I don't know, I will start with the concern first. My concern is that the honorable speaker addressed the issue about the Proposition 24. And I would just suggest to he and his honorable hosts, the representatives, they should please do everything they can do, go to their constituents, whichever way possible, and, try to see how best they can make them to understand that there is nothing wrong with Liberia as it is at this moment, for which there should be any change to Christian state. I'm a Christian, but I believe that we should understand the situation that is unfolding that will come up in the near future. We don't want to preempt anything. We look at ISIS, the terrorist Islamic fundamentalist group in the Middle East, and we see Boko Haram in Nigeria. These are terrorist institutions or terrorist groups, and they will try to exploit every opportunity that will afford them to go around, as it's already in North Africa. Let Liberians do everything they can do to live in peace as they are living together today, then to start to create situations that people will exploit the situation and then create another problem in Liberia. So this is my own concern. And now to the question.
Yeah.
The first question here is, Honorable Speaker, listening to you when it comes to the issue of let me put it this way. We have learned that Allison, the young man who, I don't know his identity right now because there were a whole lot of identity crises surrounding his living in Liberia. But my concern here is that this man was able to work on a very important legal deal in the Liberian oil legislation. Now that we see a lot of credible issues, a lot of issues surrounding his credibility of his identity, and are we going to accept those contributions he made? Are they credible if his identity is clouded as it is? Then how can we accept his job that is done? We don't know about the credentials. Are there investigations for which his information? That is the first question. And then the second one has to do with, over the period, you will understand that the head of the central bank, Dr. Neil Jones, he was involved in some responsibility he believed at the time was crucial to his job. And there were a lot of questions surrounding that, and for which there was a legislation passed that no president, of central bank, no head of central bank will have time to contest presidency in the future. You will know detail about that legislation. Now, my question here is, if the central bank governor was doing anything that was very sinister in order to promote his presidential ambition, don't you think that was an economic sabotage to the economy of Liberia, for which he should have been,
Go ahead, finish. Hello, are you there?
Hello? Yeah. So
Yeah.
what I'm saying here, if the central bank governor was doing anything that was, critical to the Liberian economy in order to promote his presidential ambition, wasn't that, yes, you should have been fired, or there should be some, because that is economic sabotage. And I I know that if I thought he was doing the right thing, then I think he was directly targeted, which of course is wrong.
All right, thank you. Your point is well taken. Other speaker?
But I think my brother answered the question the way he thinks, so I don't know what he wants me to say, but let me attempt to address the question. The Central Bank Act was amended. And remember now, the Central Bank was established under the presidency of Charles Taylor. And there were one or two questions therein. The question of the Central Bank without authority as enshrined in the Constitution proceeding to print, amend coins as instructed in Article 34, which is an authority that should be given by the legislature, one of the issues. And the issue was whether, in fact, it's not only in the Central Bank Amendment Act, in the Code of Conduct, as presented by the executive, indicated that those who are appointed by the president, in fact, the proposed law referred to them as official of government appointed by the president. In that category of official of government appointed by the president, cannot serve in their position and contest the presidency. That was in the Code of Conduct that was before the Central Bank Act was amended. When the Central Bank Act was amended, there was nothing about Dr. Jones' presidential ambition in there. Up to now, I do not know whether he has an ambition. And so it was not amended because Dr. Jones, Dr. Bates, you had an ambition. And then what we do of, we thought it would be important for the central bank or the head of the central bank, one who sits over the covers of the country, to be void of politics, especially so, even though that they are right, but
Hello? Okay, it looks like the speaker line just dropped again. That's for the second time. But we're doing good so far. Almost about probably 20-25 minutes left into the program. We've lost him for the second time. That's not bad at all. Well, this is him calling right here. Hello? Yeah, hello, you're on with Tyler. Sorry, thank you for coming back.
Yeah, like I was saying, listen, there was no law that was targeted at an individual. As a legislature, our duty is to make laws where we fit and to transform the country. And for some reason, if the legislature felt otherwise, that the one who sits over the covers should concentrate over the covers because it's very paramount and important to the economy of the country, it was important to pass legislation. And when that amendment was done, it was not done because Dr. Jones had announced an ambition. And up to now, I've not heard him say so. Dr. Jones has a tenure with the central bank. He's a tenure employee, and I'm sure he's enjoying that. And so my brother is reading the wrong thing into the legislation that was passed. On the issue of Allison, the late Mr. Allison, whether because according to him he has questionable credential, whether those things today would not be questionable. Let me inform my brother that Mr. Allison was not the only one working on the reforms. There were two laws presented. One is the Local Act, and the other one is the Exploration and Petroleum Law. And because Ghana has experience, we contacted Ghana and they seconded somebody to us to help us who knew the sector better. And thinking that it's a Liberian law, we brought in two Liberian lawyers, one lady and Mr. Alice, who presented himself at the time as a Liberian. And of course, the Bar Association credited him as a Liberian. He had worked with the oil company before as a consultant and several institutions here. So we had no reason doubting him as a Liberian. He presented himself as an oil lawyer, and he worked along with them. So I don't think anything there would be. I don't think the law itself can be questioned because of one individual. On the issue of the brother who asked about what mechanism was put in place for the selection of the delegates that went to Gbarnga, let me say I was invited to Gbarnga to speak briefly on the issue on the review, which I did as a citizen. I was invited to speak there, and I spoke my view. On the second issue, what we are doing as leaders, since this issue came about, what we can do is to wait for the proposition to be presented to the legislature, because we don't want any group to think that we influence the decision coming out of Gbarnga or influence the decision coming out of the House. Of course, there are processes through which the proposition will pass through before they become laws. And on the other question, on the other issue, even the brother who, let me go back to the central issue, the founder of the federal bank, even the U.S. Federal Reserve and all the 12 districts, heads are barred from politics. And so I don't think the legislature did anything wrong. We thought it was important.
I think it was the timing that was wrong. I think it was the timing that made it questionable, our speaker. But
there was
thank
no
you.
timing about it.
Right. Thank you for the clarity. Yeah.
There was no timing about it.
Okay. All right. Thank you, our speaker. I'm trying to do the utmost best so I can get you back to your family here. Thanks again for being here. Moving forward, please keep your questions brief and so that we can accommodate as many of you as we can. We are about 766 right now. Callers with too many questions waiting. 5001, your name, where you calling from, your question, comment, or concern for the honorable speaker. 5001.
Yeah, Mr. Speaker, this is Glare calling you from speaking from Atlanta, Georgia. Right. I have a question regarding the. Please correct me if I'm wrong. I understand there was the Chinese government gave Liberia something in the tune of $50 million to build a ministerial complex. Will you tell us what the status is, or what is the legislature doing to make sure that the government starts spending money unnecessarily on rental properties? Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for keeping your question brief and straight to the point like that. Next, 1963-1963. Your name, where you calling from, your question, comment, or concern for the honorable speaker.
Yeah.
Hello? 1963. 1963, are you there?
Yeah, hello?
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 Hello, your name, where you calling from, your question, comment, or concern?
Hi, this is El Donzo. I'm calling from Minnesota. Honorable Speaker, thanks for coming on to discuss the current issue in Liberia. I have two questions. My question has to do with regard to the many holidays in Liberia. Not a single holiday is there for the Liberian Muslim community. When I was a child, I remember on Christmas days and other Christian holidays, we will not go to school. But on prayer days, like Ramadan and Tabasiki Day, we were forced to abandon our prayers to go to school just because we don't want to miss our class. Now, is there any legislature in the pipeline in the future to enact a law that will make it a national holiday for Muslims on Abraham Day or Ramadan? That's my first question. My second question has to do with regard to the pay rate of our lawmakers. I understand that most of our lawmakers are being paid with a minimum of $10,000 to $11,000 a month. Don't you think that that amount is too much with regard to the current economic status of the country? And clearly, or like with regard to the
two questions.
I'll stop it. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Yeah, we'll keep it at two. We are out of time. Our speaker.
Yeah, thank you. What are is anything in the pipeline for a Muslim holiday? I don't know about that, but let me inform my brother that Brother Donzo that there are 3 ways to propose the legislation. Either you go to the executive, branch of government, to the office of the president, or as a state, you find sponsors in the legislature who will sponsor such bill, or is proffered by a legislator. And of course, it comes on the floor of the legislature and then debated and maybe subsequently passed into law. But there's nothing that I know of that's in the pipeline. As to the second question about the lawmaker being paid so much money, I can tell you that there are others who are not lawmakers who are making much more than lawmakers, but that's not the issue. The issue here is that the lawmakers, unlike other countries, we haven't reached the point yet for our people to understand the role and functions of the lawmaker. But the lawmakers have responsibility that range from paying school fees to funerals to paying for weddings and taking care of their constituents, whether they are in Monrovia or in their districts and what have you. And so to say $10,000, that's not a figure though, but I mean, I don't even think even though they're not making $10,000, but I don't even think $10,000 is too much, so to speak, because I know the problems my colleagues go through. To come back to the first caller, who asked the issue about $50 million being given to the Chinese government for the construction of a ministerial complex. The Chinese government has offered to construct a ministerial complex that works or that would be valued at about $50 million, some number in that range, but not to give the money to the Liberian government. And they are also supposed to construct 2 annexes on the ground for the Capitol building for the use of the legislature. That's what I know of. Thank you.
Thank you. I was speaking along that last caller's question about too much salary. I'm not concerned about how much you're being paid, certainly not right now, or maybe at least not right now. But what about the term of office? I understand that was one of the things that came up in Gbarnga, that the term of office for both you representatives, senators, and the presidency, were too long, and there was need to reduce that. So if that proposition that ever made it to your desk, will you be in support of that? Will you favor anything that reduces your own term of office?
Let me say to you that whatever happens now in this referendum will not affect the sitting legislature. It will be for the next one to come.
Right.
And Senate part of the proposition, it will be coming to the legislature, will be debated. I don't want to preempt, but it will be debated. And then I pass and maybe go to the referendum. And so I can say for certainty that when it comes, it's not going to pass or it will pass. It will be just like we're doing now. It will generate a new debate. And like one of the callers suggested, because it's believed that the conference in Gbarnga, because people are saying the conference in Gbarnga, they now represent a cross section of the people. There might be a suggestion to see how we can solicit more views before passing on this issue. And so I would not want to be quick to speak on that for the fact that it will be the legislature to decide if we go to referendum. So let's leave the issue as it is. But I think when the issue comes up for debate, we will again encourage all of you to give your suggestions. And I hope we have another opportunity where we speak about this one before us.
Okay.
And at that time, I'll make my position clear.
Thank you. I asked you to appear on my program for 2 hours. It's been 3 minutes after 2 hours, but keep in mind, I have 769 callers on. There's no way you can take all of them. I know that. So my question is, will you be willing to add 27 minutes more so we out of here at 5:30 our time, which will be probably 10:30
Yeah,
time?
sure, yes.
Thank you. I don't want to take advantage of the situation. I want to make sure we get your permission to do so. So, with that said, let's take our next caller. 8106. Your name, where you calling from, your question, comment, or concern for the speaker.
Yeah, my name is Mohammed Kira. I'm calling from New York. I just want to make a statement and follow a question.
Just make it quick. We got 26
Honorable
minutes
Speaker,
left.
thank you for taking our call today. We have been in wilderness for 26 or 30 years now from our county, Liberia, in Nimba County. Our land was taken away. We were driven out of the country. We tried our possible best to come back. We found out that squatters all over sitting in our land. We pleaded with the government. We did everything justifiably in order for us to go back home. Someone leave from America. When we get to Liberia, we're going to in Monrovia. It's difficult for us to go back to our country. I want to take this time to thank Senator Groupie and Senator Prince Johnson. They've been trying their possible best. When the President used our land as an eminent domain, which we believe were political motive, in order to get a vote of Nimba people. Now you, as our speaker, I believe you are here today to represent the cross-section of the Liberian people, not just your country, which you were elected. Now, my question to you is that, what have you done, if indeed it has been your concern, to see to it that every Nimbayan, Liberian that were driven out of their home in Nimba County, to help them to go back to their land? Thank you.
Thank you. All right, I'll take another caller. 1478-147. This look like this call. 1478. No, I was scared. I think that's a follow-up call. I'm not sure. 0912. Your name, where you calling from? Your question, comment, or concern for the honorable speaker. 0912.
Yes, hello, Mr. Speaker. My name is Patrick Fatoma, calling from New York. I would like to congratulate the honorable speaker for coming on and answering some questions. And I would like to go straight into making a comment before I ask my question. Mr. Speaker, are you hearing me?
Yeah, just keep it.
Yes, I am.
24 minutes.
Okay,
Mr. Keep it short. Yeah.
Okay. Mr. Speaker, you have been one of the key person in this government that have enjoyed the blessing of this government that is highly noted to be corrupt. And but since then we still notice that this government is pretending all the time to fight corruption, and but in the name that they fight corruption, but corruption have still been their best friend. And we all the time follow this government to see the improvement they have made, but there is no improvement when it comes to corruption. But yet I understand. Over here, you talking about you guys implemented agencies, the GSA, all those kind of agencies to fight corruption, but there is nothing going on. So my question to you: can you say that your goal of fighting corruption have been met, or no? If no, do you consider yourself corrupt? And if yes, 8 years, can you tell us what impact have corruption have on our economy? Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. All right. Our speaker.
Let me answer that question. The first caller who said that
Nimba County.
Who brought the issue about Nimba and the land issue there. I think as a government, all of us have been involved in ensuring that leadership is brought to bear on the issue in Nimba County, and I know that committee or commission was chaired by Musa Belete, and tremendous progress was made in resolving the issue. I think the issue he talks about, that the government exercise eminent domain is not the only issue that was contested, and and I think there was something that led to the government exercising eminent domain on that particular piece of property, that particular piece of land, and were intended to bring peace and harmony to the discussion. And I think the Nimba thing is an ongoing discussion. The Nimba people have been encouraged to live together. Land issues, and especially the issue of real property in this country, is very important. That's the issue we've been working on. There is a new law on land. We are very careful how to proceed with it, because if we're not very careful, it could spark out a problem. And so, we, as leaders, what we can do is encourage the body to live together. We are all Liberians, and whatever the issues are, they can be resolved. Yeah, we had a conflict, but we since put that behind us, and we are moving forward. And the leaders of the country, the leaders of Nimba, are doing extremely well to ensure that there's resolution to the problem in Nimba as far as and other issues are concerned. On the issue of the last caller spoke about, if I understood him right, whether our fight against corruption and sale, I don't think so. I don't know whether this brother ever lived or worked in Liberia before. And I said earlier, the issue of corruption is being highlighted and spoken about every day, because this government has tried to put in institutions that are fighting corruption. And so we did not be emotional about this. Again, it's not an event that we just finish in one day. It's not just in the government, it's everywhere in the society. And so those are corruption, one of the areas of society that all of us must fight. And so he needs to be emotional about it, and to ask about people being corrupt. I hope it's corruption-free. So he lives in an advanced society, but in our little, small Liberia, that all of us, including himself, we are doing everything possible. We are doing everything possible to fight corruption, and all of us need to join in that fight. That fight is not just a fight of the government. It's our collective fight. And so all of us must join ranks to fight corruption.
Thank you. Thank you, our speaker. 1478, very quickly. We got, 23 minutes left. 1478, your name, where you calling from, your question, comment, or concern for our speaker.
I'm calling BZZ, or calling from Minnesota.
Welcome, Mr. Zizzi.
My question or recommendation to the speaker, first the question is there a possibility that, does the legislature have the power to delete and insert some amendment in a proposition? And what can we as Liberians, that live abroad, how can we lobby, or how can we fight our case like how our Muslim brother and sister are doing right now? And that's one of my disappointments right now, because I've been online, like all of us that live in the diaspora, because the dual citizenship the dual citizenship bill was also defeated. So what can we do together? I mean, to fight the cause, because we got relatives and friends back home. Every day we send money to them, I mean, for their survival. So what can we best do, I mean, as Liberians living abroad, to see how we can govern our support, and if there's possibility that the dual citizenship bill can be inserted once it reaches the level of the legislature. That's my question and my little recommendation to the Speaker of the House, the Honorable Speaker. Thank you. Hello? Hello?
Hello. We had a serious technical difficulty right there. Yeah, sorry. We had a serious technical difficulty. What happened? The last answer you gave, that didn't even make it to the public. I got disconnected, so basically it was just you talking to me because you're coming through the conference line through my phone number. and I can see the the reaction of the audience here. So I don't know if you don't mind the last response you gave there. That statement didn't.
Yes, the last response was yes. We can add on to.
Yes.
We can subtract. We can alter as you may any proposition. We can modify any proposition that's been presented to us for debate and maybe subsequent passage. Like the issue of dual citizenship, our brother mentioned, yes, I don't think, from what I understand, is not part of the proposition, but it's an issue that is in a statutory law, and that law could be amended once the legislature passes on the issue. That law could be amended because the law says that once you declare your intention to be a citizen of another country, you have already lost you automatically lost the Liberian citizenship. That is in the statute. I have not seen it in the Constitution. I don't think it's there. So that issue could be taken care of. Yeah, I think that's an issue that is germane to the discussion because it has been around for a long time now. I hope we will see reason to look at that issue as well.
Thank you. Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Moving quickly to the outside of here. 8051, 8151, your name, where you're calling from, your question, comment, or concern for our speaker. 8051. Hello, are you there? 8051? 8051. All right, let me know ready. 4724, 4724, your name, where you're calling from, your question, comment, or concern for our speaker.
Yeah, Kafumba, good afternoon, Mr. Speaker.
Who's this?
This is Thomas Sherry from Pennsylvania.
Yeah, welcome to the show, Mr. Sherry.
Yes, sir. I have so much to say, and it's very limited. But anyway, I'll try to shorten this. Obviously, a lot of respondents have already questioned on the religious issue, so that's a big issue for me right now. But I'm glad that has been exhausted extensively. So let me go to another issue. I just want to let the speaker know that so he can really transmit this to his colleagues. They are a real disgrace. I mean, it's almost.
Hello. Hello. Hello, Mr. Sherry.
I'm not hearing him too.
Yeah, Mr. Sherry.
I'm still here.
Hello?
Yes,
okay.
I'm still here.
Yeah, go ahead quickly now. What do you mean?
What I was saying basically is that can he just transmit this to his colleagues? I mean, they're total disgrace. I've been watching some videos and stuff like that, and guys are fighting. These are guys that are making over $150,000 if you add all the benefits a year. These are guys that are well paid, better than representatives in the United States, and they're fighting. They're sitting there. You see people shouting and punching one another in the face. These guys, and I want to thank the speaker because, for the most part, he's been calm, right? He's been calm. There are other issues. The speaker, obviously, I'm not going to get into that right now, but I'm just saying that these guys, by what they display every day, they are just a bunch of disgrace. I mean, it's like kids in the candy store. You know what I mean? Like, these guys are a disgrace.
No, I'm not going to go there, please.
Okay.
Yeah, I understand that, but they're just a disgrace, and that's what I have to say.
Okay, all right, thank you, Mr. Sherry. That was the second question. Was that a second caller? All right.
That was caller, but you did.
Okay, let's take
you didn't
another
say
one.
much. You just made a comment.
Right. Well, at least he said he's very proud of you being kind. 8051, 8051. Your name, where you calling from? Your question, comment, or concern for the Honorable Speaker.
Okay, this is Al calling from Minnesota here.
Who's this?
Hello?
Hello, who's this?
This is Al from Minnesota.
All right. Question, comment, or concern?
I want to say thanks ever so much to the Honorable Speaker for appearing on the show. The thing here is, Mr. Speaker, you know, I hate when people pay lip service to this so-called freedom and amicable livelihood that Muslims and Christians have had and continue to have. You know, this whole idea of declaring Liberia a Christian state, to me, exposes the lip service some of us Christians and lawmakers who claim to be fair have continued to pay. Not one day have I seen any lawmaker. Like you said, Mr. Speaker, laws can begin from the constituency, gathering signatures, or lawmakers who find the idea very good, standing up and proposing the law. Why haven't you, in the interest of fairness and justice, proposed any law that would grant Muslims to respect their holidays, just as you have your Easter, your Good Friday, and your Christmas? Nobody has said that. Do you think Muslims are satisfied and you want the status quo to remain the same? Why can't you go on record for being that person who will say, you know what, it's been long gone, Muslims have been suppressed and marginalized?
Thank you. Thank you. Why haven't you suggested a holiday? I was going to ask two callers. You want to address those?
See that?
You want to address those two callers?
Yeah, but I think why he as a citizen hasn't made such suggestions.
Yeah, well, having you as a citizen.
Hello.
Yeah, hello.
I'm listening. And I said, a law can be proposed from a citizen, the executive branch, or the legislative branch. And so why he as a citizen has not done that? That's why you call hindsight. So now he's thinking, you know, why we haven't done so? Why he haven't done that elsewhere? I think on the issue of religious freedom, and that's my personal view, not as a legislature, I think we are clear on that. That you know, it's not broken. We shouldn't fix it. And I think we believe in peace and harmony. Muslim and Christian have coexisted in this country. We have problems. We don't have the kind of issue other countries have, and we need to be very careful as we move along. I've said that repeatedly, so I know where he's coming from, you know, trying to raise the kind of issue he's raising. However, he's Judean also has a citizen. If you feel strongly that there should be a Muslim holiday, please propose it. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, folks, I would take probably 5 more callers, and ready or not, after 5 more callers, we'll call it a night. We can be here all night. Unfortunately, that's not going to be the case. But as I said, remember tomorrow, Representative Yelu from Bong County District Number 4 will be on this show to defend Proposition Number 24 as to why Liberia must be a Christian nation. He will be here tomorrow, 5 p.m. Minnesota time, 6 p.m. East Coast, and that will be 10 p.m. in Liberia. After that, Judge Melvin Johnson, we read an article on Daily Observer that his legal license has been revoked here based on the Liberian government corruption allegations, so he disagrees with that. He will be on Sunday to clarify that. And for the record, Joy Howard Taylor, Senator Joy Howard Taylor, all of you know, appeared on this same show twice in 2012. And I'm happy to say all of those appearances are on YouTube now. So the campaign of Christianizing Liberia started with Joy Howard Taylor. She's not afraid to say it. She was on the show. She talked about it both times she came on this show. And I have the audios on YouTube. Just go on YouTube and type in Liberian Diaspora Forum. Liberian Diaspora Forum. The audios will come out. You see Joy Howard Taylor picture and myself. Click on the audio. She's on there. And ever since this review thing came up, I've contacted her. It's my understanding that on the 18th of this month, in just next week or so, she will be traveling with President Ellen Johnson Sirleaf here in the state. They'll be in Washington, D.C., and I'll make every effort to see if we can bring her back to the show. Now that her wish.
Go ahead.
And now that her proposition is gaining momentum, so we can question her as to what benefits such proposition has for Liberia. 5 more questions, and then we out of here. Let's start with 2938-2938. Your name, where you calling from? Your question, comment, or concern for the Honorable Speaker.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. I'm Shaka Ture. I'm calling from Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
Welcome to the program.
You hear me?
Yeah, welcome to the show, I said. Yeah, I can hear you.
All right, yeah, thank you. Okay, I got a small comment to make, and I got a question. Okay, my small comment is this. Everywhere there's injustice or the right of the minority is taken away, it always results into conflict. That's my small comment. Now, I got a question for the Speaker. My question is this. Seeing that this Proposition 24 is divisive and can be a source of conflict, is he willing to put that forward before the House of Representatives to discuss it? Because we know he has the right not to put that bill forward. Is he willing to take it forward and put it before the House of Representatives to have a debate or vote on it?
Thank you. Okay, well, he's willing to bring that something on the floor of the House to be debated. Okay, thank you. One more question, and then we've got 3 left. 8251, 8251, your name, where you calling from? Wait a minute, I can't ask for a name. This is the guy who single-handedly paid for, what is it called, the logo for the Liberian Diaspora Forum weekly talk show. We are grateful to you. Mr. Isiaka Silva from Dallas, Texas. Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much, Mr. Kromah, and thanks for the show. Honorable Speaker, thank you for coming on the show to hear from your people at the diaspora, on the diaspora. My question is there a way, because we are getting confused in some sense, is there a way that our voice, the voice of the Liberians in America or in the Occident, is there a way that we can be heard directly? Maybe we have our representation. Somehow, like the Jewish community, they are outside of the Jewish community, but they can be heard directly. Their wishes are sometimes respected. We talk about dual citizenship. It's not being granted any type of hearing or any type of substantial consideration. We've talked about and all of these things that are going on. We are the diaspora. We are not, forcing our way into tribal and ethnic divisions. We are looking at the bigger things, because looking at our rivals, our brothers and sisters that are from different countries, we see that they are doing a lot better. So is there a way we can have a direct representation in the House or in Liberia where we can be heard directly and our wishes can be considered? That's one. My second question is,
can we
maybe those that...
We out of time,
hello?
Mr. Sidibe. Yeah, hello? We out of time.
I'm sorry. My second question is, Mr. Speaker, I know you are against the Christianization of Liberia because you understand the consequences and ramifications, sometimes what it can do. So do you see that there's some elements in the House that want to derail some of the improvement you want to bring, some of the oversight you want to bring? Do you see some elements that are against you in there and want to do anything to undo your goodwill by bringing some chaos so that way you won't be heard or your wishes won't be brought? Because people try to divide and lead. So is there anything you've seen in that?
Thank you. Our Speaker.
All right, let me take these two quickly. I'll do these 3 questions. The first question was whether it can be put forward, isn't it?
Yeah, whether you will bring the proposition to number 24 on the floor to be debated.
Yeah, it will be the right. It will be the right of my colleagues to bring it forward on the floor for discussion. I cannot guarantee that it will pass or it will not pass. However, I think that's why they were elected as leaders. We have to wear our thinking caps. We have a situation that conforms such as the proposition will be trying to do. This proposition will be trying to do. So let's wait until we see. But it will be a good thing to put them before the legislature and debate them. What I cannot guarantee is whether all of them will come for referendum. Another thing the second caller asked was whether there's a way where citizens in the diaspora can be represented in the legislature that can only be done through a constitutional amendment like we're trying to do now. So if somebody could propose that, that would be something for discussion. And whether there are elements in the House that will oppose or support is not me to say, but I do believe that we have a legislature that will represent the general interest of the people and to ensure that our country remains peaceful. We have a legislature that is concerned about peace and security of the country. We have a legislature that believes all Liberians are equal and we should be given fair and just treatment. And so when the issue comes for debate, I'm sure they will exhibit that. I can assure you that the legislature will exhibit a high degree of tolerance, of course, but a high degree of maturity, given the fact that they've been there for a while now, the experience and everything is there. And over the years, they have been country first, irrespective of our religion, our tribe, or our social background. Liberia comes first. And so, as the presiding officer, as leaders of the country, that's the line we'll be pushing to ensure that Liberia remains peaceful, irrespective of what.
Thank you. Our next caller is not just an ordinary caller. She's someone who volunteers with this talk show. She does the promotion work, and just like many other, Cecilia Heavy from Atlanta, Georgia. Without her, we'll have a tough time having this show. She really works hard to promote the show, just as Emmanuel, what he does sometimes, Monubility, and Brother Osman and Randolph Tabate of New York. So, Cecilia, thank you for all your hard work, and your line is open.
Well, thank you for, opening my line. I just want to say thank you, Speaker Tyler, for coming on. We just want the Liberian people to hear from you because there has been a lot of issues in Liberia, and we are yearning to get answers from you people in Liberia. That's why we're doing this, for us to be able to speak to you guys, for you guys to be able to answer our questions. But I really don't have a question. I've been online listening since the show started. I've been communicating with Kafumba, so I just want to leave it to the audience to answer, for him to answer their questions and ask their questions. So thank you very much for coming.
Thank you, Cecilia.
Thank you.
Speaker is almost out of here anyway. 1018, your name, where you calling from, your question, comment, or concern. 1018, 1018.
Yeah, this is Musa Willie calling from Pennsylvania.
Welcome to the show, Mr. Willie.
I quickly want to register. Yeah. The first thing I want to talk about, the speaker talked about, was money laundering, proving to the world that Liberia is ready to stop trafficking or money laundering. But one mistake that I think the speaker, in his explanation, one of the statements he made that struck me was that we make law according to where they fit. Judicial law and legislative law are not the same. Judicial law are where it fit. Legislative law will have to be made in the best interest of the people, not where it fits. I just want to clarify that real quick. How can you track money from leaving the country? There are you're boasting of a lot of legislation that you guys have passed into law.
Musa, you breaking up. Musa Willie?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're breaking up. You're on and off. I don't know what you did.
Are you getting me now?
Yeah.
Yeah, any legislation that is passed, and that legislation is not backed by policies, it's not backed by instrument of laws. That legislation is just for the book. So one thing I want to talk to the speaker about, what are you guys doing about changing Liberia to e-government? Because you're talking about people leaving the country with $10,000. If I go to Central Bank and send $2,000, I go to ICE Bank and send $3,000. How would you track my transaction? What is the security network? What is the internet network to track that Musa Willie just sent $3,000 at ICE Bank? He just moved to the other bank and sent $4,000. What is the communication what's the medium of communication between the two banks? And nobody on this conference is going to lie to me that it is in place. It is not in place, and the only thing I can...
Thank you, Mr. Waller. The question is worth taking. What are you doing to track money, to launder money transaction? So two more, and then we are out of here. Two more questions plus Musa Waller question, and then the speaker will leave us. Mr. Emmanuel Wati, the diaspora chief representative on dual citizenship. Mr. Wati, welcome to the show. The honorable speaker is on. Wati? Emmanuel Wati? Honorable speaker, can you hear me?
Yeah, I'm hearing you.
Okay, Mr. Wati, Emmanuel Wati, are you there? I'm afraid that we don't have a lot of time to. Okay, well then that brings me down to 6494. 6494, your name, where you calling from? Question, comment or concern? 6494.
My name is Gbarnga. I'm from the state of Delaware, to be specific, in the city of Newcastle. Okay. Mr. Speaker, thank you for coming, and I would like to congratulate you for your re-election as Speaker. Because in 2009, when I went to Liberia, you contributed indirectly to my wedding, So I'm happy that you took your position back. I would like to make a comment before I go further. My comment is going to be the Christianization and the Muslim situation in Liberia. It's not a big issue for me. It's a very petty issue. And we don't want to take blame. If you say you and I, we have lived happily, I think let us reinforce the intermarriage. Where I come from in Sanikole is densely populated by Muslims, which happen to be the Mandingo people. All right, I'm a man from the Mano tribe, and I live with everybody. The mosque is right before my father's school, Dolo Memorial High School. I think what has been the problem? What is the problem? Is intermarriage. Let Mandingo marry, let Muslim marry to Christian, non-Christian. I think we'll go like that. It will be better. But this is not a
you want a Mandingo wife?
And I'm one of those who don't want for Liberia to be a Christian nation. That would not be fair. But intermarriage is the most important thing. We'll go with intermarriage because if you check it, the Muslim are gain on the marriage side from the other tribe compared to any other person. Okay. I got a Muslim friend who I spoke with him. He said the only way you can marry to another tribe.
Let me just we got the point. We're out of time. Intermarriage is the point. We got that well taken. So Emmanuel Wati, I think I have to. We out of time. Where are you? The dual citizenship. Mr. Wati, are you ready to go?
Yeah.
Wati.
Yeah. Mr. Moderator, thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Thanks for coming, and we do appreciate your time. Probably maybe the question was asked before. If someone asked the question, I'm sorry, but I just want to know, based on what happened in Gbarnga, we in the movement of dual citizenship feel that we have other options that we can come to the national lawmakers to pursue them, ask them to repeal the law. We can also go to the court. So at this point, our people just need to know the options that we have available, to pursue our quest for dual citizenship. We think we have other options, but we just want to hear from you because we know that you're one of those that have expressed support for dual citizenship in the past. So as we are right now, where you think we stand? And from your own understanding, what can we do going forward?
Okay.
Let me say that if I will answer your question, Mr. Wati, that's the name. On the issue of dual citizenship, you still have option. As a matter of fact, the issue of this dual citizenship, if you make the issue of you losing your citizenship, is a matter of statute. It's not a matter of it's not a constitutional provision. It's a matter of statute, and statute will be repealed once it's debated, and but we still got a little bit of work to do in my mind because there are two schools of thought. One group will say no, the other group will say yes, but there should be some safeguards. And so all is not lost. Not because it may not come to the Constitution, I mean, as a proposition, then everything is lost. No, I don't think so. And so there's still a way on the issue of dual citizenship. There's still a way it can come by way of statute. A bill can be presented, and the laws as it is now can be repealed, and we can move forward. On the issue of the colleague or the brother that discussed the money laundering issue and who knew all of the facts, we have a central bank that is a regulatory agency. So if you went to 5, 6, 7 banks and did a transaction, at the end of the day, the central bank would definitely pick up those transactions. And so we were not saying that we have a watertight system. We're saying, yes, laws are supposed to impact, but you have to start from somewhere. So we don't have the kind of sophistication that you people enjoy in the United States, okay? And so we have to start from somewhere that we can put all of the modern technology in the place in the future going forward. So I hope all of us can work towards that. Those in Liberia and those in the diaspora, those of you who got expertise to come and help, I think that would be very welcome. On the issue of the brother that talks about supporting a secular state from Delaware, and intermarriages have been a problem, I think that will be an issue for discussion. I cannot speak to that because I don't have all of the facts, but I think that can be an issue that we can discuss and debate, because I think that as Liberians, there's been intermarriages among the tribes and citizens that helps the country. I don't know what he's saying is a fact, but I hope that all of those things can be encouraged and debate can be encouraged along those lines so that we understand ourselves, so that shouldn't be a problem.
Okay. Tyler?
Yes, I'm here.
Thank you so much. So now we have, I hate to say we have come to the end of this program almost, because we've kept you online well over 2 hours. So the questions that I'm taking now, just answer them as part of your closing remark. Can we do that? So, because this, I can't. There's no way you can answer all of these questions anyway, no matter. So that's not possible, and I understand that. But I'll just take 3 more and then just make them part of your closing remark and get us out of here. Can we call that a plan?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, thank you. 4256, 4256. Your name, where you calling from, your question, comment, or concern for our speaker. Are you there? 4256?
Yes.
Yeah. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Give me 1 second, please. My name is Salman Salif.
Okay.
Now, good afternoon, Honorable Speaker.
Good afternoon.
According to John F. Kennedy, who was an authority in the field, said that education is advancement of knowledge and the dissemination of truth. Honorable Alex J. Tyler, literacy rate in Liberia is 60.8%. That which is good compared to other West African countries, especially our neighbors. Guinea, which has 41% literacy rate, Africa 56.2%, Sierra Leone 35.1%. We stand out to our neighbors, and that which is really, very good. Mr. Speaker, my concern is education dishonesty. As long as we are not honest in our education, whether you obtain a high school diploma, a bachelor degree, or master, you are not educated, as long as it was done on dishonesty. Mr. Speaker, the reason why I'm saying this is because of the recent constitution review which took place in Gbarnga, where numbers of Liberians are calling for the Christianization of Liberia. My question is, Mr. Speaker, Mr. Alex J. Tyler, since you became Speaker of the House on April 6, 2007, what have you and your colleagues done to ensure the education dishonesty does not exist in our education system, because it's one of the major reasons that most people are agreeing to the Christianization of Liberia.
Thank you. That's your question. Unfortunately, I have to leave it there. 6377-6377. Name, where you calling from, question, comment, or concern?
Yeah, good evening, Mr. Kafumba. Good evening, Mr. Speaker. Yeah, my question, yes. Thank you. So first of all, let me say thanks to the Speaker for bearing with us and for taking all of these questions. Given that we are in the information age, and then realizing the importance of information dissemination, especially between the governed and then the governors. I want to know specifically, has they come to the thought thinking process of the Speaker that Liberia representative or legislatures, it is time that they should begin to go on the internet so that the bills they pass, the activities they do on behalf of the government, so that we should be able to have easy access to this information? Has it really come to your thinking process? If not, yes, do you think it is a good time to do that?
Thank you, Mr. Cage. We're going to leave it there. So last but not the least, the very last for the night, 0357-0357. Your name, where you calling from, your question, comment, or concern for the Honorable Speaker.
Yes, my name is Sekou Kenneth, calling from Phoenix, Arizona.
Okay.
I want to say thank you very much for taking my call. I want to say thank you to the Speaker for coming and speak to us tonight. I have a comment and a question. First of all, I just want to make something clear to both the speakers and some of the callers that despite the fact that we want to discourage people being unsavory in discussions, we must also note that the issue of the Christianization of Liberia in itself, the idea in itself, is not healthy for our country. It's not something that should have been proposed in the first place. We must be clear with that. With that said, the Speaker said in one of his deliberations that even though Liberia may have been funded on Christian principle, I'm not sure if that is a supposition, but I'm not sure whether the Speaker believed that, whether yes, indeed, Liberia was funded on Christian principle. If yes, if you believe in that Liberia was funded on Christian principle, can you tell us in this public manner what are those principles? Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Well, thanks.
All right.
To all of you, Honorable Speaker. I want to thank you for this is
hello.
So hello. Can you hear me?
Yeah. So that at this time of the last question, I'll be the closing.
Okay. Thank you.
I'd say in my introduction, I said I read both the 1847 Constitution and the 1986. And in both, I did not see anywhere where Liberia or a provision of the Constitution that talks about Liberia being a Christian state. So I hear people talking about returning Liberia to a Christian state. I'm wondering where we're returning it. On the issue that my brother mentioned, I said in the preamble of the 1847 Constitution, something about Christianity was mentioned. And so Liberia may have been founded on Christian principles, but there's no provision in the Constitution that says that Liberia is a Christian state. So I want to say that emphatically for the record. Are you hearing me?
Yeah, you know.
On the issue of the information dissemination, I agree with the caller. We're in a new age. I think we'll try to improve our communication situation in the country.
we'll try in the future to do just that. So I don't think that needs a debate. And so we'll try to improve on that. On the issue of the education, the honesty that the brother spoke about, all of us are on our obligation as Liberians to speak the truth, to speak facts. And so I'm sure it's coming from the background that perhaps those who went to the conference or those who went around the country did not present the truth. I'm sure that's where it's coming from. But again, please, there is a process. I want to encourage all of us that are issues with the different propositions that will be presented to exercise restraint, to be very civil with the way we approach issues. And I think at the end of the day, Liberia will come up better. Liberia is getting better. Thank you.
Well, thank you, our speaker. This is the part where you do your closing remark, if there are specific things you like to leave us with. And before you begin that, just like some other callers made special appeal to you, I too have one to make to you on behalf of the Liberians in Minnesota. I made this appeal to Honorable Marma Fofana. Unfortunately, I forgot when Senator Ominibi Wusa was on last week. I did not make I forgot somehow. Hopefully I'll remember tomorrow to make the appeal to the representative that's coming. Here's the appeal, Honorable Speaker. Minnesota is believed, I'm not saying it is, but it's believed to have the highest number of Liberians at the moment. Whether that's true or not, I have not done any statistics, any sense of that. But the truth remains there are a lot of Liberians here in Minnesota. And now with the introduction of a new Equal Liberian passport, what we are required, anyone who wants the new Liberian passport is required to either go to D.C. or New York to be fingerprinted and to be photographed. The passport itself costs $205 online. And if you live in Minnesota where you have to fly, buy airline ticket $300 or more, fly to D.C. or New York, at the end of the day, you end up paying almost $600 or more for the Liberian passport. So the appeal is, can you prevail on the Foreign Ministry to consider opening a Liberian consulate in Minnesota, given the number of Liberians here in Minnesota? That is the appeal that I've been asked to make, and I can't think of a better person to submit that appeal to than yourself. So with that said, again, it's been a pleasing pleasure to have you on.
But let me before you leave, let me assure you that I will leave that issue and with the flag that issue and have that discussion with the foreign minister. Because I think it's very important to have a consulate. We have all of the Liberians living there. It will be important to do so. And to promise you that in the future I'll be willing again to come on your show once we can arrange it properly. Because I'm sure that a whole lot of other people that are on the line I wanted to express.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask questions and have some understanding.
Right.
The other thing, like I said to you before we started, is important for all of us to discuss, to raise questions about issues we want to know and be civil about the way we address one another. So at the end of the day, there has to be that mutual respect. So respect Liberians in the diaspora, and I think they have an obligation to respect those of us that are living in Liberia. So I want to thank you on that note, and thank you for the opportunity and the platform that you have provided, giving us the opportunity to speak to the many issues and questions that were raised by our fellow Liberians in the diaspora. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. And that's it. We'll call you a night. Have a wonderful night. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. And thank you again so much. Yep. Thank you.
Thank
folks.
You, God bless you.
Thank you. Folks, I want to thank you, the callers, for being on here. Obviously, we will not have a show without you, just as you will not be here without a guest. So I want to thank you. And to those of you whose questions we could not take and did not take, I want to apologize to you. The questions were pretty much taken in the orders that they were received. Those who have follow-up questions, I'm not sure. We don't even get to hundreds of first-time callers, so such is the nature. My apologies to you, and hopefully you'll join us tomorrow when Representative Yelu come online to defend proposition number 24, Christianizing Liberia. That should be an interesting show. So on that note, let's all have a wonderful night and be blessed. Thank you.